Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Dr. Hernandez Smith, and this is my first live on this channel, Adults ESL Online Learning. And I wanted to do this live because I wanted to share a little bit about myself or share my story as to how I became an online ESL educator. It started a long time ago. Basically, when I was a little girl, I always loved teaching. I loved playing teacher. And that was probably because both my parents were educators as young adults. And so I was always encouraged to learn, encouraged to read, and encouraged to play. And I was also very familiar with the school setting because my mother would take me to her university classes. And I loved watching the professors and I loved watching the students, and that whole learning environment really made me feel comfortable. So I went to college and well, no, when I was a little girl, I would play school with my stuffed animals or imaginary students. And then I went to college and uh, got my undergraduate degree in radio, television, and film. I loved it and decided to go into television. So I did work at a television station for years and also um, at another, well, I was a contractor with another media production company that did game shows here in Texas. So I was working a lot in the television production aspect, but I really was drawn to the news stories and providing information for the public. And because I was really interested in that, I felt that it was time to go back to school and get a master's in education. And so that's what I did. I re- I, I earned a master's degree in education with a teaching certificate in English language arts and reading for grades 4 through 8. And after I got my first teaching job at a middle school, a Title I middle school, I went ahead and got my ESL endorsement. And that's really when felt, I just felt drawn to these types of learners, to learners who are learning English. I was a student that was an English language learner when I was kindergarten, first and second grade, uh, and the idea of making making information comprehensible, making um, and really focusing on the language aspect um, was something that I felt interested in and curious and wanted to improve on in my teaching. my instruction, in my lesson planning, in my assessments, and all of the above. And after 12, 13 years as an educator in K through 12 schools, I I resigned and made the transfer to teaching online. I earned my doctorate degree, probably no, I started my PhD program after about 9 to 10 years in public education, because I could feel myself being burnt out. I could feel myself not interested in uh, middle school curriculum and just uh, pedagogy. I was more interested the um, in learning in how adults learn and working with adults. So I got my PhD and I got that in adult education. Uh, one moment, try and saying this right. Andragogy. That's what I wanted to make sure I pronounced it right. But I was more interested in andragogy, how adults learn. So, yeah, I got my PhD in adult professional and community education. I did that in 4 years and I was pretty proud of myself because I did that while teaching full time at a Title I school and I was single and it was very difficult going to school full time at night and then being a full time middle school ESL teacher at a Title I school really was, I don't recommend it to anyone, but I did it. And once I received that PhD, I decided it was time to move on. And that's what I did. I started teaching to adults from all over the world. And I did this remotely because, yeah, I was teaching online and it was fantastic. I got started with that because I attended a TESOL convention in Seattle and I learned about online companies, English programs, online programs that were teaching English to adults, business English, or just regular basic English. And I did that with but those companies where were from China, and they were really strict with missing a class or being late to a class. And um, I decided, no, I think it was a year where there were a lot of, no, it was one year, it was one summer where we were hit by hurricanes. the tropical storms, and I didn't have power for a few days, and I don't believe that that company gave me any grace period, or I don't know. Basically, my contract was not renewed, and I was not allowed to uh, teach again with that company. But that I was hired on with two others, and I had a great time with those two other companies. And but then the laws changed, and I decided to really focus on my YouTube channel of teaching adults on this platform. And so I say all that to say that um, I do have, I do, I do have a wide and diverse background in education. Um, and I love what I'm doing right now. I love teaching online and making videos for learners to to access and to use at their convenience. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me, and I hope that this information was helpful and gave you some kind of mm, insight into my background as an educator. And uh, I appreciate you listening, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you in more videos.